We are 99% animal and 1% divine. Animals are 99% divine and 1% animal or 1% instinct. So if we are 99% instinct and only 1% of us is our divinity, then that's what makes it very hard to maintain that divinity. Our higher self, our lower self, your God and your dog, your divinity and your instinct. And this is why, if we are 99% animal or instinct, this is why when someone does something heinous or despicable, we say that person is an animal. So now the question is, what kind of animal? And this is how you truly figure out what type of spirit animal someone is and what type of spirit animal you are. And it's not always going to be something cute and fancy because that's what you like and because something is pretty. It's based off your circumstances, your environment, and your survival. And because animals are 99% divine and only 1% instinct, this is why it's easy for even some of the most dangerous animals to get along with certain people without harming them. Even babies are 99% divine because even babies have to grow into their animal. They're still going to be put out into the world eventually, which is going to change their innocence and their purity. But this is also why babies and animals can sense good energy because they're straight from the source. They're 99% divine. Only 1% of them eat, sleep, and shit. And a lot of times, a lot of us spend 99% of our time eating, sleeping, and shitting, and then asking the 1% for more. You have to get in tune. So when you take away the spiritual language of a demon or Satan or the devil and just replace it with animal, you'll see why someone's natural instincts are the way that they are and why certain things might be a violation to you, but to certain people, it's just Tuesday. It's just another day of survival for them. Why it's easy for certain people to abandon, abuse, hurt, kill their own children. Well, there are animals that do that. You also have to think about animals and entitlement, people and entitlement, people and manners and rules and behaviors and the things that are centered around shame and how animals don't have shame. Animals have to be taught shame. Why some people rob, cheat, steal, kill. They're in their animal state. So they're not thinking about what it affects, who it impacts. They're not thinking about consequences, sin, or any of those things. No different from an animal. When you leave food on the table, right, a person, okay, somebody in their 1% divinity is going to have manners or consideration. They're going to come in and ask, does this belong to anybody? Can I have some? An animal is just going to come in and grab it and take it. They're not thinking about manners. They're not thinking about what's fair. And they don't have to because they're an animal. So now you have to think about why some people move the way that they move. Some people are natural predators. They will stalk you. Okay, they will go out of their way to make you their prey. That is animal-like behavior. That is their instinct. So when you're dealing with animals or people, all you're really trying to figure out is what percentage are you dealing with? Are you dealing with their animal? Are you dealing with their divinity? And what percentage? Only animals will run up in somebody else's house with entitlement, disrespect, and violation. So you have to think about even with Goldilocks and the Three Bears. It was only one animal in that story. It was only one animal that went up in somebody else's territory with entitlement. So not every animal is an animal and not every person is a person. Everybody operates differently. So if someone hurts your family member or does something to somebody that means something to you, that might be hurtful to you. That's your family member. But to an animal, it's lunchtime. And once we understand to learn our surroundings, even nature, and you learn about these plants, animals, insects, you start to realize how certain patterns and behaviors remind you of certain people and why certain people have a certain conscious or lack of consciousness towards their behaviors. Remember, an animal doesn't know about shame, about guilt, about consideration. An animal only knows about survival. So that's why outside of their eating, sleeping, and shitting, they are glorious. They are divine. However, there are people who take on animalistic behavior and they don't think there's anything wrong with what they're doing.